Former CNN anchor and independent journalist Don Lemon was arrested by federal agents on Thursday in connection with his coverage of an anti-immigration and customs enforcement (ICE) protest that took place at a church in St. Paul, Minnesota, earlier this month. The arrest, made as Lemon was in Los Angeles covering the Grammy Awards, has swiftly become a flashpoint in national discussions about press freedom, civil liberties, and how protest actions are policed in the United States. On January 18, 2026, a group of demonstrators entered the city's church in St. Paul during a worship service to protest the role of federal immigration enforcement. According to federal authorities, the protest targeted a pastor at the church who also is a local leader with U.S. immigration and customs enforcement. Lemon live-streamed parts of the demonstration, interviewing protesters and covering the chaotic scene. He has maintained that he was acting in a journalistic capacity, not as a participant in the protest. Federal prosecutors have charged Lemon with violations of two statutes. 18 U.S.C. Section 241, Conspiracy to Deprive Rights, a Reconstruction-era civil rights law commonly referred to as the Ku Klux Klan Act, which makes it illegal to conspire to deprive individuals of constitutional rights. 18 U.S.C. Section 248, Freedom of Access to Clinic Entrances, FACE, Act, a law originally enacted to protect access to abortion clinics, but also extended to protect the free exercise of religion and safe access to religious services. According to Newsweek, prosecutors allege that Lemon's presence inside the church while protesters disrupted a religious service interfered with parishioners' rights to freely practice their religion. Lemon's attorney, Abbe Lowell, condemned the arrest as an unprecedented attack on press freedom. Lowell emphasized that Lemon's decades of journalistic work, including his reporting on the Minnesota protest, is constitutionally protected under the First Amendment. Supporters and press advocates have echoed these concerns, arguing that journalists covering protests, especially volatile or confrontational ones, should not face criminal liability for simply being present and documenting events. The arrest has stirred strong reactions from both sides of the political spectrum. Critics of the Justice Department's action, including media figures and civil rights advocates, warn that charging a journalist for covering a protest sets a troubling precedent for freedom of the press. Many have framed the arrest as part of a broader pattern of legal pressure on critics during the Trump administration. Government officials, including U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi, defended the law enforcement action, asserting that the safety and right to worship of churchgoers must be upheld when protests intersect with religious services. Alongside Lemon, several others connected to the Minnesota protest have been detained, including independent journalist Georgia Fort, as well as protest participants allegedly involved in the disruption. Fort has also maintained she was covering events in her capacity as a journalist. Lemon has pleaded not guilty to the charges and is expected to vigorously contest the government's case in court, with hearings scheduled in the coming weeks. Observers note that the case could have wide-ranging implications for how laws like the FACE Act are applied, particularly when protests occur inside religious institutions, and how journalistic activities intersect with federal law enforcement actions.